This is the Utah trip in kind of Nevada and California. After 8 hours of driving, we stopped at Las Vegas to spend the night and then spent the next morning at the Valley of Fire Nevada State Park. When we got there, it was 8:30 in the morning and it was already 105 degrees. So we could only do a little hike, which was at Balancing Rock right by the visitor center. And then after that, we just drove to a couple places, stopped to check out the sights like the beehives. And then we were on our way. Like, honestly, we wanted to see a lot more, but it was just too hot for us to really do anything. After 2.5 hours of driving, we got to Springdale. Springdale is the city that's right by Zion. We decided to stay really close by so we didn't have to do a lot of driving in the morning. The next morning, we got to the park at 6 to start our hike at the Narrows. So we rented these shoes from Zion Outfitter. I thought it would keep our shoes, like our feet, completely dry. Nope, your feet still get wet. This is where we got our shoes. We couldn't find parking in that lot, so we ended up parking up here, and that cost $20. Parking around Springdale is such a ripoff. Any parking passes that you buy only works for certain lots. It doesn't work throughout the city. So we have at America the Beautiful Pass, which means we can get into any park for free. So we should have parked over here and just walked over to get the shoes. I had always wanted to see the Narrows, and it was definitely worth it. I really wish we stayed at Zion for a lot longer, but we were really only there for 2 days. We didn't do the entire Narrows hike. We went in maybe about 4 miles before turning back. We were there in early June, and the highest the water got was up to my upper thighs. I just don't want my underwear to get wet. That's like the one thing. Even though we started at 7, there was still a lot of people, especially on the way back out. I met up with a friend, and she showed us the Petroglyph canyons. Those were pretty cool to see, and it really wasn't on top of my list. I didn't even know that they were there. So I was really glad that she was able to show us. The next morning it was off to Bryce Canyon. So Bryce is less than 2 hours away from Zion. You could totally do a day trip from Zion to Bryce. We had time for a short hike and we ended up doing the Navajo loop trail. I wasn't planning on doing this, but it was really nice to see, and it really is that orange. After the early morning hike, it was time for our horseback riding through the Peekaboo Loop Trail. This trail is 5.5 miles with a 1,500 feet in elevation change, and it took 3 hours on horseback. After we were done at Bryce Canyon, we made our way to our hotel in Kanab. The next day we went sandboarding at Coral Pink Sand Dunes. You can rent out sandboards and sleds from their visitor center. It's $25 per board and sled, I think. And you can keep it for the entire day, but I think like 2 hours is a pretty good amount. Sometimes they run out, but if you just wait a bit, like people will bring them back. I had a blast, but it was pretty hot, so stay hydrated. So that was like the end of our Utah trip. The next day, we decided to break up the driving. So we drove to Paso Robles, and then at nighttime, we checked out the Field of Lights. This was really cool to see. It was a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Yeah, if you're in the area, I would recommend it. Yeah, that's basically it.